and Thursday, we check in with Tony Messenger, St. Louis Post-Dispatch columnist. Tony Messenger, you can read him at STLtoday.com, and with us every Tuesday and Thursday. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, McGraw. Good morning, Kelly.
All right.
Hi there.
Tony, it's interesting. This interesting story you wrote about this dreamer here in St. Louis has this poor woman. All she wanted to do was go to college, and the state tried to do everything they could to get her not to go to college. And then she went to college, and she found, right, every time people say, we don't want you to be an American, she finds a way to do the right thing. It was a very heartwarming and sort of sad story about this poor woman's plight.
Yeah, her name is Arely Munoz-Reyes, and she is one of the dreamers, one of the DACA students that has been protected by President Barack Obama's executive order and is now threatened with deportation by President Trump. And it's these students are so inspiring. These are kids who came here on no fault of their own. Whatever your opinion might be of immigrants who come here without documentation, and most of them often come here with documentation and then overstay their visa. That's a civil matter. That's not a criminal matter, but they are then here without documentation illegally. But their kids are not criminals. Their kids were brought here and lived their lives here as Americans. Arely is very much like Maria Gonzalez, who was a woman that I wrote about years ago, who in both cases came here as young children, had no idea they were from another country, had no idea they were any different than their other classmates in public schools, participated in all of the same activities, and then when they were ready to go get their driver's license, their parents had to sit them down and say, you can't get your driver's license, you're not an American citizen. That's when a lot of these DACA kids find out they're not Americans, and all they want to do is do everything the right way to try to be an American. And in the case of Arely, she was an A-plus student. She went through the A-plus program all the way through University City, where the state made a promise to her. If you get good grades, if you tutor kids, if you have great attendance, we're going to pay for your community college. It's a great promise that the state of Missouri makes to its high school students, most of them anyway. And she did all the right things, and then her senior year, the state legislature said, you know what, we don't like brown people, so we're going to make sure
hold on a second. They didn't say that. They said undocumented workers aren't eligible for the funding.
Yeah, and in my opinion, a lot of those state legislatures did so for the same reason that President Trump is doing so, because of racist intentions. That's my belief, and that's why they passed it. And so a student like Arely is left out in the cold, and all she wants to do is work. All she wants to do is pay taxes. All she wants to do is be an American and contribute to the economy like she has been doing her whole life. And right now the president is standing in the way.
And so she ended up not getting the funding, but ended up going to school. She ended up graduating, right?
Well, she hadn't graduated yet. She's a student at Forest Park Community College right now. She's got another semester, and then she'll be done with her first 2 years, and she plans to transfer to a nursing program. And one of the reasons that she was able to go to college, her and a lot of DACA students like her are supported by the Scholarship Foundation in St. Louis, which in 2014 said, we're going to start supporting these kids and make all of our programs available to these kids because they belong in our community. Because the business community in St. Louis has said, we need these students. We need these immigrants. The universities are saying it. The business community is saying it. Everybody except for the president is saying it.
The president did give Congress 6 months to get this fixed, so they're not going to lose their status for 6 months. Truly, Tony Messenger, if Congress wanted to get this done, they could do it in a matter of minutes.
Oh, Congress could do it in a heartbeat if they wanted to. But the bottom line is there are a lot of Republicans in Congress who don't believe that they want to do anything to help any undocumented students, whether they came here on their own volition or not. And it is not going to be easy to get such a bill passed. Yeah. It should be, but it's not going to be easy.
You know, this really, the large, do we know how many DACA students are in the St. Louis metropolitan area?
There are 3,500 in Missouri. I don't know how many are in St. Louis metropolitan area, but there's about 3,500 in Missouri. There's about 800,000 known nationwide. And here's the real tragedy. And this is why 16 states attorney generals have now sued the president to try to block his action and hopefully force Congress to do something. But these students were living in the shadows. They were not, while they were going to public school and everything else, when the president said, look, I'm going to protect you, they came out and said to the federal government, we trust you. Here's our information. Here's where we live. We will promise to check in once a year as this program continues as long as you protect us. And many of those DACA students are serving in the military. There was a great story out of the Houston Chronicle a few days ago about one who's a paramedic who saved lives. These are people contributing to our community. They are Americans in everything except for, as President Barack Obama said the other day, except for on paper. And they belong and want to be in this country. And it's only politics that's standing in the way of keeping them here.
The interesting thing about all of this is that this is the low-hanging fruit. These are, as you say, brought here through no fault of their own. They speak English. They become Americanized. They are Americanized. This is the only home they've really ever know. They're fully embraced in the military, schooling, Friday night football games, right? They're Americans in every way. And if Congress can't figure out how to solve this problem, how can they solve the larger problem of illegal immigration? If they can't fix this, which is supposedly easy to fix, how can they fix anything else?
Well, and that's been the problem with the immigration debate going back for decades. Primarily in the last decade, it's been this false straw man of an argument. Well, we want to help these DACA kids, but only if we get our wall. Well, we can't afford the wall, but we'll have Mexico pay for it. Well, we've got to take care of our borders first. Well, what about all of those people, terrorists, that might come in if we don't build the wall? There's always an excuse. And the one excuse that they won't hang their hat on is the one that I believe is behind much of the reason why we haven't fixed this problem. It's just pure racism.
That's Tony Messenger, Tuesdays and Thursdays here, and STLtoday.com. Tony, have a good day. Thanks.
Good to talk to you.
You got it. 8:20.